Hello there and welcome back to my channel. It is of course only me again, and thank you all so much for tuning in for another metal detecting adventure. So very recently I went out metal detecting and found what is probably the rarest coin I have ever plucked from the ground. Now unfortunately it was a super rainy day and I couldn't film. I had no intentions of filming, and as always when you're not filming you find something good. But in this video I'm going to tell you all about that find and explain to you why it is such a rare coin. So as I said, we aren't going to be going to do any metal detecting today, but you will find out all about this coin. And trust me, it is worth finding out, because if you find one of these coins, you're also going to have something super special as well. So that leaves me to say thanks very much for watching my videos. It does mean the world to me. And of course, if you like them and metal detecting content in general, then do consider to hit that subscribe button down below. But that's the waffling out the way. Let's roll the intro and I will tell you all about this very special coin. Okay, so picture this scene. You've come into a brand new permission, just got it from the landowner, and it's a super wet and boggy day. But you want to go out because you absolutely love metal detecting. So raincoats are on, I've got all my gear covered from the rain, and we start detecting. Now we were in that field for about 3 to 4 hours and we weren't getting an awful lot. But it was really nice short grass because the sheep had been in there for most of the year. Now, I was with my friend Brian, who sort of left because he wasn't finding anything good at all. And I was doing the top part of the field, walking up and down from the bottom. And he was doing the bottom of the field, walking along the field. So I was kind of stopping where he was detecting and not really sort of bothering him. And half an hour after Brian left, I had a signal, and it was an absolutely wonderful signal. It's probably about sort of 5, maybe 6 inches below the soil. And when I dug it out, I saw something which was truly amazing. And that's because when I looked in the hole and saw the target, I knew straight away that it was a huge silver hammered coin. And that is an exciting find enough. However, when I brushed the mud off of the coin, I saw the head of King Charles I. And just beside his head was the Roman numerals XII, which means that it was a silver shilling. Now, a silver shilling of King Charles I isn't necessarily a very rare find at all. In fact, I have been lucky enough to find a few of them in the past. So, although I was very excited to find this coin, I was completely soaking wet from head to toe. No matter how much I tried to clean the coin, it was just getting muddier and muddier. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put it in my finds pouch. I'll go home later, brush it off under the tap and see exactly what coin I've got. And that is when it started to get very interesting indeed. And that's because when I cleaned the coin, I saw the mint mark. Now, as I said, I found a few of these shillings before in the past, so I was relatively familiar with some of the mint marks, mainly the Tower Mint and all of those sort of more common editions. But I couldn't tell what this mint mark was, and I went through my book and couldn't see a mint mark that sort of matched the one on the coin. So I decided to put a picture of it online, all nice and cleaned up. Now, it didn't take long for people to see this coin and inform me that actually it was a very rare coin indeed. And that was because of the mint mark. Where this coin was actually struck was a very short mint, and the story behind this mint is even more interesting. Now, as soon as I found out it was possibly from the Worcester Mint, of course, I did what any self-respecting metal detectorist would do: go online and see if I can find another example. And I spent a whole evening online trying to find one that was similar to my coin, and I just couldn't find it anywhere at all. And that got me really excited, because I thought, well, if it isn't that common, it might be worth quite a bit of money. So I went back online and I asked people what they thought it was worth. I don't obviously, sell my finds. I'm not really into it for the money, but I wanted to figure out exactly how rare this coin was. And by its actual worth, I think you're going to get a good idea as to how many are actually around. Now, it became quite apparent to me that there weren't very many at all. In fact, there was only a very small handful known. Some of them were in really, really bad condition. And one of the ones that I did find on an auction site, which sold a couple of years ago, sold for £13,000. Now, obviously, if you see a coin online and you see the price of £13,000 sold at auction, you think to yourself, no way is that going to be the same coin as mine. But it turned out to be almost identical to my coin, and it had that unusual lion mint mark as well. Now that got me really, really excited, because I have found a few of the Charles shillings. In fact, I found quite a few Charles I coins, but I've never ever found one that was worth that amount of money. And so my next step was to find out, actually, is my coin going to be worth £13,000, and how am I ever going to find that out? So I went on a few forums that specialize in these types of coins and got some information that people that deal with them on a regular basis that could tell me a little bit more information about them. Turned out this coin did actually come from the Worcester Mint, and it was a very rare coin indeed. And I was quite fortunate to pull this coin out of the ground in really good condition as well. So the fact that it had some nice detail on there, it wasn't heavily clipped, also added to the value of the coin. Now, at this stage, I was pretty much kicking myself, because usually I go and record all of my digs, all of the things that I find. But of course, the one time I find a coin that's extremely rare and it's worth a lot of money, it's raining, it's wet, and it's miserable, and I've decided not to pull out my camera equipment, get it all wet, get it all boggy. And on that one occasion, I go and find a really, really special coin. Now, of course, I'm quite happy that I found the coin. It's a really nice example of the coin. And I've put the feelers out to a few people who do tell me that it's easily worth at least £8,000. But at auction, because of its rarity, could go for an awful lot more. Now, I'm not here bragging about the coin. I'm not here saying that, hey, I found this amazing coin and you didn't. I'm not like that. But what I do want to tell you is that one find can change your whole day. And although you might think the coin is a relatively normal coin, one coin can be an extremely rare edition. And if it's a rare coin, then chances are you're also going to have something pretty special as well. So now I knew I had this super rare coin, it led to a few questions. Why was it in the field? And the field couldn't be any further away from Worcester at all. And that led to some pretty interesting inquiries, because I did a little bit of research around the area where I found the coin and realized that the field was once part of a very old manor house. Now, the historical data puts that manor house back to the medieval period, but there's a log in the data that suggests that the house was entirely rebuilt from the ground up in the year 1603. And that, of course, means that somebody who lived in that manor house had a lot of money in order to be able to renovate the manor in the year 1603. And of course, the English Civil War was after 1603. And that meant, of course, that the possibility of somebody living in that house who had a lot of money went away to fight for either the Royalists or, of course, the Parliamentarians. Now, I'm willing to bet that it was possibly a parliamentarian, and that's because the area where I live was very much about the parliamentarians and against the Royalist army. Quite lucky to have a lot of history about the Civil War in my area, and there's been quite a few battles around here, but to find a coin that came from such a rare mint that was there for such a short period of time must mean that the person who lived in that house went away, fought for the army, and came back with the spoils from that mint. And for some reason, they dropped it in their field. So I guess the moral of this story is always check your finds. Even if you think it's just a normal mundane coin, it's always worth giving it a nice little clean, looking at the details and just checking to see whether or not it is a rare find. Because I wasn't going out looking for rare finds, things just pop up in the most random of places. And this coin was certainly no exception. Now, of course, I'm going to show you the coin in all of its glory, and it's going to take pride in place in my collection. It really is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have, and the detail on there really is wonderful as well. So let's show you this wonderful Charles I Worcester Mint shilling. It's a nice silver coin, and as I said, a really, really rare one. Now, as I said, I'm not here to gloat about this find. Yes, I absolutely love it, but I'm here to share it with you all. I'm here to share that story with you because I would love to have gone out, filmed it on the camera so that you could all see it coming from the ground. Just meant the circumstances and the day meant that I couldn't do it. But it's such a great find, a monumental piece of history, that it was just too good not to share with you here on this channel. And of course, there's a moral to this story. You know, you can go out, and even if you're having the worst day in the worst weather and you're soaking wet and your morale is really low, keep going, keep pushing on, because it only takes one find. And that one find can change your whole year and potentially could change your whole life too. So I really hope you've enjoyed listening to this story, and I also hope it's given you some inspiration to go out and uncover some amazing finds just like this coin for yourself. If not, hopefully better. Now, of course, I will be out metal detecting again very, very soon, and hopefully I can find some more of these wonderful coins as well. But as soon as the weather gets better, it's rained for so long here, the ground is so boggy. But guys, spring is coming, then we're going to be into summer, and we can all get out and do what we do best. Thanks very much for watching. I, of course, will see you on the very next hole.